It's time for another episode of the Film Room, and today we're going to take a look at Toledo defensive tackle Darius Alexander. If you're not familiar with what I do in these videos, I like to take plays from a couple different games to kind of showcase the type of player, in this case, Darius Alexander is, and how he can translate to the NFL. And I think we've got a good one here. Guy coming out of the MAC, maybe not a lot of people talking about him, but I see a lot of Chris Jones, the Kansas City Chiefs defensive tackle, in Darius Alexander. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get into the tape. Now, one of the first things that you'll notice with Darius Alexander is his athleticism. He's kind of hidden here. He's over here he's the right defensive tackle lined up, basically head up on this left guard. And at the snap of the ball, they're going to go away. It's going to be kind of like a fake counter type play. But we're going to see already here that Alexander, he's going to make a lateral move, lateral cut to his right, and then we see a club and a swim. But then just the acceleration. I mean, he nearly chases down this quarterback who, they're running fake counter to a pass. And his athleticism just shows up. I mean, just to be able to turn that corner, burst. I mean, he doesn't get a quarterback hit or anything, but you just love that agility. You love that burst. You love that acceleration that Alexander is showing here. And so as we look at Darius Alexander as a pass rusher, as I showed you with that last clip, he is active with his hands. Here, he's the left. He mainly lined up as the left defensive tackle, going against the right guard. And here at the snap, we're going to see him right here. We're going to see a nice little swim type move. And this is what you see. You see him active hands, using both his hands, pass rushing moves, along with his lateral agility, kind of pushing outside. Then we'll put a outside foot down, break inside with that swim to get in. And Miami of Ohio, who they're playing right here, they constantly threw guys at him. They knew that he was by far their best defensive player, the best defensive lineman. And so he would often be double team, triple team. Here they have the running back coming over to pick him up, because if he didn't, that was probably a sack. We see another example of that here. Once again, left defensive tackle lining up on the outside shoulder of the right guard. And he's same type of thing, going to go at him, and then and he ends up doing this quick club move against the center. Once again, running back coming to pick him up. They essentially, going here, boom, quick inside move. Once again, if it wasn't for that running back coming over, he, once again, could have got right into the quarterback's face. And it's just that quick lateral agility, the quick, heavy hands allow him to get penetration, get into the backfield. Another clip here against Miami of Ohio. He's lined up over here, left defensive tackle again. And he's going to go a little bit of a right at this center. But then we see there's that little swim. It wasn't a true swim, just kind of a reach over. And just able to use that power, reach over, get into the backfield, force that quarterback out. And then what I love here is not only gets into the backfield here, but as we see, as the quarterback starts to go, he's able to adjust and go right out there with him. So his agility, his body control, along with his speed and quickness, make him a pretty good pass rusher. And then we see this all together here. His athleticism once again, so left defensive tackle going up against the right guard, but they're going to run a little loop action. As you see, this pass rusher is going to kind of come in and pick him essentially, and he's got that body control to loop around. And then I love the length. He's getting those 34-inch arms up, coming around the corner. You see a little bit of that ankle flexibility to turn that corner, that agility as well, and just getting that hand up and knocking that ball down and preventing the pass. Now, Darius Alexander is much more than just speed and quickness and his pass rushing moves. He also has some power here. Here he is lined up, left defensive tackle. And he's going to go straight at this right guard and get underneath of him, put him on skates. They've got the running back there trying to help, and he ends up just bursting through both of them to be able to get into the quarterback's face and even get the hit on him. And it's just that power, it's that motor, that tenacity, that just being able to get up under him, bowl through the guy trying to help him, and get his hand and let that quarterback know right there, boom, knock him to the ground, that I'm here. You may try to double team me, but I'm still getting to you. And then we see the power on full display here. Here he is lined up, essentially the 5 technique. They started moving him around later in this game because they started doing double and triple teams. And he's lined out here, the 5 technique, this guy at the wide 9. And he's going to slant in hard at this right guard. And he's just going to be able to knock him back, break free, and end up with the sack here. And it's just using that speed to power to be able to get underneath of him. As we see from the end zone view, just bowls him up, bursts over, and gets that sack. And it's just that ability to create that power. Not only does he have the power, he's able to create it with the speed, use that one-arm stab to knock the right guard back, and give him an open lane for the sack. All right, now that we've seen him as a pass rusher, how is he against the run? So he's right here, once again, left defensive tackle, head up on the right guard. And at the snap of the ball, he's able to just get to the edge of that. And I think the right tackle ends up kind of almost pushing him to the edge, but he's able to just burst through and get that tackle for loss. And it's just that quickness, that power to just kind of push his way into there, get into that gap, get in the backfield, and finish with that tackle for loss. All right, we see another example of his athleticism here. Left defensive tackle. At the snap, he's just going to engage and move laterally to get to that edge. And then just another burst, get in, and bring the running back down for a big loss. And we just see that his agility, his burst, time in and time out, and just using that length, being able to get his hands on the shoulders of that right guard, giving himself some leverage, giving himself some space to then move, and then just shoot through and get the stop. Now, after looking at him with his speed and quickness, let's transition over to the power. So here against Bowling Green, left defensive tackle again. Here he's going to stand up this right guard, get him stood up, and he's in a position here, knocks him to the ground. So not only does he stand him up, but he shucks him to the ground. And he's in a position to make a play on this running back, but the running back sees him, sees this defender coming through, and says, I'm going the other direction, right into another defender. So Alexander doesn't get the tackle here, but his ability to get penetration, get into that backfield, allowed his teammate to be able to come in and clean up. All right, and then the final clip, we see Alexander here against Miami of Ohio once again, and he's going to get double teamed by both the guard and the tackle. They're going to down block. They got a guy pulling. And at times, Alexander, he got double and triple teamed all over this game and all over the games that I saw. And at times he can get pushed. And here he gets pushed down the line, gets pushed out of the gap, and that happens. But he does show here that he's able to still free himself because this tackle is trying to get to the second level. But you notice that left hand, that left arm is in there and using that to get himself free, get himself back into position, and he's able to then grab and make that tackle essentially at the line of scrimmage. And all because he doesn't quit on plays, but he uses his length. He has that power and then the quickness to burst off of it to be able to make that tackle at the line of scrimmage. There is a lot to like about Darius Alexander as it relates to him being a 2025 NFL draft prospect. As I said, he's a guy that's 6'4", 305 pounds. He's got 34-inch arms. So not only does he have good size, he has good length. Some will knock him, being 24 years old, his age, that he's a grown man playing against 19 and 20-year-olds. I get that. To me, it's not as big of a deal. Some teams may not like it, others may. But as we saw from the clips, he was a man among boys. And that Miami of Ohio game where a majority of my clips came to, he was practically unblockable. And as I said, he reminded me a lot of Chris Jones. I remember when Chris Jones was coming out of Mississippi State, he was just dominant. He was big, he was athletic, he was long. And as soon as I started seeing Darius Alexander, I just saw Chris Jones at Mississippi State. Now, I don't know if he's going to be that level of a player. He might not. I think he's kind of a boom or bust. That's kind of the grade I gave him. Just because he is playing at a small school level. I know he did well at the Senior Bowl. But, coming from the MAC, being older, I think it just leaves some kind of projection and that. So that's why I went with the boom or bust. But I really liked him. He's one of my favorite players in this draft class. He's probably going to be a second-round pick. But I think a team looking for a pass-rushing defensive tackle, a potential elite defensive tackle in that second round, I think you're going to take a chance on him. And hope, here's a guy that you can move around. He played that left defensive tackle, but he can kind of slide up and down that defensive line. He's got the agility. He's got the speed. He's got the power to do so. And I think whatever team gets him, hopefully he gives them an impact player. All right, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for this episode of The Film Room. If you like what you saw, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the bell to get all notifications whenever a new video comes out. Make sure you follow me on social media. Wherever you do social media, draft_Brian. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Till next time.